Okay. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It's perfectly visible, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will discuss very few points on best practices in PhD, do's and don'ts in research. So I'm assistant professor in NIT Jamshedpur, and the important thing is that I did my PhD from IIT Patna. So I will talk from many perspectives. I will talk like a PhD, as I'm senior of your, as you are admitted to PhD, and I will talk like a senior also, and I will also talk like a PhD supervisor. So in both point of view, I will deliver this lecture. Okay. So whatever I'm going to speak today is completely based on my experience. So try to understand that this is not a philosophical talk. This is a philosophical talk. This is not a technical or mathematical talk. So whatever my experience is and my opinion, and that I will provide it to you, it could be different from someone else's experience. It is possible that during your PhD you get a different experience, and your opinions and suggestions are different. So if you don't agree with that, it's okay, you can always ignore it. And it is also possible that there are few things which are related to common sense and which is very obvious, so then also you can ignore it. Okay, so I'm starting my session. So this is the outline. Hello, this is the outline of my talk, and we will discuss it, all the points. So first of all, you have to investigate that why did you arrive here? So I will mainly address to PhD students, and since a lot of things will be also be related to MTech joined students, so you can relate it to that. But at the same time, at one time I will be addressing to newly joined PhD students, since MTechs are also doing research, so that will be also be relatable to them. So I would like to first of all congratulate to all of you that you got admitted to IIT Patna. Getting admission in IITs is really a difficult task, and also you have taken a good decision by coming here. I'm sure that you will enjoy your journey here, and I'm sure that you will learn a lot of things, and after end of your course you will realize it that that was a good decision. So enjoying research in your own subject is a necessary and sufficient condition to do PhD. So when you ask question to yourself, why do you want to do PhD, what is the purpose? So the necessary condition that you should enjoy your research and you should enjoy your own subject. If that is not the reason, PhD would be tough to you. If you do not enjoy research and your own subject, you are not attracted to the beauty of science and engineering and physical laws, then this will be difficult for you. And if you do this, you don't need to have any other quality. It is okay. You don't need to have a very great intelligence, or you don't need to be extremely hardworking. That things are not required here. The first and foremost thing that is required here is that you need to enjoy whatever you do here during your process of PhD. So this is the most important phase of your life. After end of the PhD, maybe after some more years, you will realize it that PhD was the most important part of your life, because you get paid for doing what you love the most. You always wanted to explore your subject, you always loved it, and now you are getting paid for that, and you will have plenty of time. So with that plenty of time, you will do whatever you always wanted to do, and this freedom neither you had in your past or not, nor you will have in future. So that is the reason that this is the very important part phase of your life. So what do you learn from PhD? After end of the PhD, you will realize that in PhD, do you learn the subject? Yes, but that is not the most important thing, nor the research. The most important thing that you learn in your PhD is patience. There will be several occasions during the PhD when you will about to lose your patience, because that will take too much time. Some things will take too much time, and you have to have patience for that. And at the end of the course or during the PhD, you will realize that patience was important to you. So what do you do in PhD? So PhD is divided in two parts. One is that you do a great research. So I will explain it to you during the talk that what is great research. and then you explain it in the best way. So there are two main steps in PhD. There are two main steps in research: innovate something, investigate something, find new results, and then write it down. So in both of the things are very important, because it is possible that you are a good researcher and you may not be a good writer. You may not be able to communicate your results very nicely. That is possible. You understand the importance of it, but writing is a process which you learn during the PhD. And how do you achieve these two things? You achieve by imagination and observation. So observe imagination. What is the purpose of imagination? You imagine a lot of things. You think a lot about whatever you have studied, whatever you are doing currently, and then you come out with the new ideas. So new ideas come from imagination. So they say that by learning and reading and studying, you go from A to B, but by imagination you can go anywhere. So imagination is not a linear thing. It doesn't work in a line that first you learn A, then you learn B. No, in imagination you can go anywhere. And then observation. So observation is required for explaining your research in writing or in your talks, in your presentations, that you learn from observations, because there is no separate training for you for this thing, that you write your articles or you present it in conferences, that there is no separate training from that. So during the PhD you will learn, you will attend others classes, you will listen others lectures, you will attend sessions, and then you will read a lot of books, articles, and from that observation you have to learn it, that how it is presented, how beautiful results are presented, that you have to learn during your study. So that is there are two steps of it. One is imagination and observation. These two things you have to keep high. So now I will come to the literature survey. So start with reading. You have to start your PhD with the reading, because you have studied a lot of subject in your graduation and post graduation. Now you want to start research. So you cannot do research in all of the subjects. So you have to choose some particular topic, especially in which your guide is already working or he or she has already worked. So some fixed key papers from your area, which is in whichever you want to work, published in, start from very good journals. Okay, so fixed key papers, and then reading the literature is a loop. You start with a paper, there are some references in it, and then they refer to more papers, then you find more papers, you download several things, you study new papers, then again they cite new papers, that this result is given in this, for more detail this result. So again, so it's a loop, it's a never ending loop. So if you fall into that you will not come to you may learn a lot of things, but you will not get any conclusion. So the thing is that when you read a key paper, read everything. Don't take things granted that this researcher has got these results, and even if you can prove it independently, but you don't try to prove, you trust the researcher. Because if you don't, key papers are not only for observations, like whatever the results this paper has done, I will look into that. I will look into only on results and not the process. No, you have to look the process, and if you can prove them independently, if you can verify them independently without reading the results, that is great. Okay, now when you read key papers, sometimes they refer to basic knowledge, your knowledge that you have already studied in graduation or post graduation, so that they refer, and then you go to your books that you have already studied, but now you will read them with a different mindset, and you think about that. So you cannot say that I will read 10 papers in a month and that will be a good nice thing to me, or I will do more hard work in it. No, the thing is that the basic results, the fundamental results that you will get, that comes in your way, you have to be expert on those results, because those fundamental results you will use in your research further. When you will develop your own results, those fundamental results will be used. Okay, so what happens in that loop? You download several papers and then you have to arrange them nicely. You cannot be careless about that, because you should not download one paper again and again every time you need it and then you download. That is not a nice way. You have to create folders in your PC and then arrange it author wise, arrange it topic wise, arrange it area wise. Okay, so that database you should have, so that in your area you can have a quick overview that what is done. So try to understand now what I want to say is that there are two different things. In your research area, you should have an overview what is already done and what is not done. Okay, and then in key papers, you should know everything. You should be expert of the key paper. You should memorize it completely. So in key papers, and the basic thing is that whatever the basic knowledge they are using, whatever the basic science they are using, that you should know completely. That you have to be expert of that basic knowledge. Okay, then during the literature reading, you will find some literature gap. I will tell you that this literature gap is not very important at the beginning. This literature gap you may use on later stages, but you have to start identifying it from the beginning itself. Discuss it with the supervisor. They will give you more suggestions. And then the thing is that alternative methods are important. So for example, one paper has solved some problem by some method. Okay, now if you can use a second method and then you can solve the same problem, maybe you can solve even in a more difficult way. Maybe you can solve with not so much accuracy. It is completely okay. Your results are important. Even they are publishable, not publishable in a very reputed journal, but for beginners they are publishable also. They are important also, and you should give sufficient importance to your results, and you should spend your time for finding alternative methods to solve the problems. Okay, so beginners can do a cross connection. You solve problem of paper 1 by method of paper 2. It will boost your confidence. You will get an hand-on idea that how research is done. So this is how you should study. You should study the literature as well. And once after reading, after identifying the problem, and then after studying the literature gap, you will automatically be jumped into a thought process. And now the thought process is very important for problem formulation and solving it. Okay, now they say a very famous quote, which I completely agree, that a well-posed problem is half solved. Once you identify a problem correctly, I'm not talking about very important problem which is publishable. No, you are studying a problem. Suppose you are studying a paper. You are stuck to somewhere. You don't know how we got from step 1 to step 2. Okay, but the problem is clear to you. From step 1 to step 2, steps are clear. You know that they are right. You have to find out how you have achieved that, how they have achieved it. Okay, so the problem is well posed. You can also pose your own problem. For example, you want to go from step 1 to step 2, and then step 1 you have simplified somewhere. So you have come to some point. From step 1 you have come to some point, and from step 2 also you have come to some point. So you have made the problem simpler, but the problem is clear to you. Now this clear problem, it is a great achievement. It will not allow you to sleep. You will keep thinking about it unless it is solved. So that is the reason they say that a well-posed problem is half solved. So for beginners, again, I will say solve a problem independently, which is already solved by someone else. After 1 or 2 years, you will realize. So PhD is, as I said in the beginning, PhD has completely different experience from each person to each person. So for many students, they are not able to get any publishable result even after 2 years. So that is the trick for them, that you start problem. You don't need to do great findings at the beginning. You start a problem independently and solve a problem which is already solved. So you know the solution already, so you can get help of that. So you start a problem, you start solving it. It's okay. You can give, you don't worry about time. You give sufficient time to it. Automatically your speed will be increased on later stage. So if you solve a problem, as I said, by any method, by your own method or by cross connection, you solve it, your level of confidence will be boosted. You will learn how to do research, and then you will automatically formulate more problems and solve more results. Okay, now this is very important step that I would like to say, that develop your own tools. Now what is tool? Here tool doesn't mean any program or any other physical tool. Tool means when you study a paper or you study a paper, so the literature study should be started from a book, that I think. So you should spend some around 3-4 months at least to study some good books from your area, so that you will have a good understanding of basic knowledge. Even if you start with a paper and if they refer to you to a book, you read the book first. Okay, then when you study their results are compact, they are difficult. It will always, you have to think on each step that how from one stage they are getting another stage. So you have to think. Now in this process of thinking, you will automatically develop a lot of tools. You will develop very small results which are not publishable itself, but you will use those results for proving other results. Now these tools, and then slowly you will develop several tools, several small ideas, several small formulas, several small results you will develop, so that your paper studying will be easy, because you are going to verify each of them, whatever you are studying. So it will be easy using the tools. Using the tools, you will get automatically verified. And then these tools are important. Then whenever you will develop great ideas, great innovatives you will do those things with the help of these small tools. So that is the reason I say that thinking is very important part in research, because tools, they are not achieved by studying, they are only achieved by thinking a lot. Okay, so now the make baby results, small results are important. You have made a very small result, or you have made a very small change in paper. Think about it. Think how you have done it, how you have got that idea. Cherish it. Feel amused about it. You have to be attracted about it. Then you will improve it further. So research is not a thing which is done in a single day, or with a single idea you will get the great finding. No, you have to keep the idea improving slowly. Okay, so your small results are important, even if nobody gives them importance, because you are a beginner and your results doesn't add anything to literature. That's okay. Your results are important to you because you are expert of those results. That is important to PhD, that keep thinking all the time. So thinking is even more important than studying or reading. Okay, because studying, and the purpose of studying is reading, is to get the material for thinking. So keep thinking all the time. When you walk, when you eat, when you do something, you should think about whatever you have studied, or what is your problem, what is the problem that you want to solve. If you do not think, if you think you don't have anything to think, then think what you have studied yesterday. So whatever you have studied so far, you think about that. You will automatically get some idea to think. Revise those points, and you will realize it while revising in mind. You will realize that when you studied those topics, you had a different point of view. Now while thinking, in the process of imagination and thinking, now your point of view will be different, and you will get several questions that you did not had when you studied them. Okay, so this is how the problem formulation is done. So this material was mainly aimed for those who are working in theoretical things, like they get their result by studying and thinking. Okay, so now we come to the writing. Now writing is a process which is very much different to thinking or getting or solving a problem, right? Writing is very challenging to all of us. English is not our native language. None of us is related to that. Everybody from us have to learn English within PhD and or scientific writing. You must learn here. So it is completely okay if you are not able to write anything. It is completely okay. You will learn it slowly. But how will you learn? So there are several methods. I would say you can watch several lectures there, and then you can, when you attend, okay, so you can watch several lectures and you can read books. But no, that is not the best way to do it. The best way, as I said earlier, is observation. Do not spend your time in English separately. No, you are attending a session, you are attending a lecture. Observe the English, observe how they are speaking, how they are presenting their results. Similarly, when you are reading a book, you are reading a paper, you have to observe which English they are using, which words they are using, how they are getting results, how the theorems are proved, how the introduction is written. So then only that is the best method to get the best result. Okay, so the observation is important, and the second thing is that scientific writing is a very slow process. So you should not be depressed about it. If you are learning, if you are paying attention and you are working hard to scientific writing for 1 month and you are not able to achieve, let me tell you, this thing is not achieved in just 1 month or not even a semester. It will take years to you to become a good writer, and you will keep learning even after your PhD. So most times we take help from our supervisor for writing, and that is quite fair. It's okay, especially in the beginning of your paper. When you start writing your first paper, your guide will help you a lot in that. So scientific writing is a very slow process. It will take time. You have to work continuously on it. And how you will do? Observation. Observe everything closely. Because what will happen when you initially study your literature, you will be focused for results because you are a scientist. You are fascinated about science. You are not fascinated about English. So you will understand English, but you will not see it as a learning point of view, right? You will see it. You will work on science. You will work on results. So the English will be ignored that time. So my suggestion is that pay attention from here. So pay attention to the way it is presented. English. So scientific writing is not only about English; it is also how it is written. So or how the great papers, they are able to make these results in a compact way, because research is not done in a way it is written. Research is done slowly, and you get several small results. And then when a good paper is written, it is very compact. In a small paragraph during the results, they say a lot of things, and that is an art. You have to learn it. So polish your writing. You write down something, anything, any rough paragraph you write, it is completely okay. Start your keyboard and typing, start typing. That is the best. And then polish it, revise it. Okay, again and again. This is just, you have to do several times. Do not expect your supervisor to read the manuscript that is not clearly written. Okay, so the most PhD students, they do write anything and they think that they have done good work, and then they send it to supervisor, and they expect supervisor to read it immediately. So they don't have time to study a very rough form of manuscript. So you have to improve it and keep doing it. Unless they see it, you keep doing, you keep improving it. Okay, so now the second thing is that in scientific writing, don't wait for an answer. Don't wait for an answer from supervisor, or don't wait for an answer from reviewer. When you start writing the second project, start writing the third paper. Okay, working on the next problem. I have seen PhD students saying that I have given my guide, and it is 2 months, he has not even seen it. So what you are doing in last 2 months? You should develop your next results, or you should improve your previous, keep improving your previous results. So the thing is that, as I said earlier, PhD requires patience. You have to be patient about that you have submitted a paper in a journal and they are taking 1 year, and you have to accept this fact. You cannot deny this fact. It is okay. They are not consuming your time at least. After submitting a paper, you are completely free to do a second paper. So start working on the second problem. Okay, so while listening to any lecture, provide sufficient attention to English, keep the manuscript simple and clear. Okay, now I will come to the point, that is traveling. Traveling is very important, and I will say I love traveling, and I know most of you would do the same. Traveling is the most lucrative benefit in PhD that I think. So why I think? Because there are many jobs they offer you traveling work for travel for work, but traveling for work in PhD is completely different compared to the traveling for work in any other industry. You will realize it, because here traveling means genuine traveling. It is just you are not overloaded with the work, and you travel, you attend conferences, you attend seminars, workshops, you present your work at several places, but you are not overloaded with work. You will get sufficient time to go for outing. Okay, so I will explain all steps one by one. So you should go abroad at least 2 times in PhD. So many students think that they will go abroad only when they have done a very good amount of research work. No, in the beginning of research work also you have small results. Only for proper presentation also you can go to conferences. You start attending conferences starting from the second year, and in first year you attend seminars or workshops. Okay, and IIT Patna is already offering 2 times, 1 time at least I know, abroad visits, and then further you can apply. There are several agencies, they offer funding to PhD students to travel abroad. So apply for DST, NBHM, INSA, and there may be some agencies in your area, like NBHM is for mathematics. There will be some agencies in your particular subject. So you search for that, you keep looking for opportunities, and then you apply for going abroad. You should be interested for traveling. Okay, so and then you should attend at least 2 national conferences, workshops in a year. Per year you travel 2 times for work, for attending conferences or workshops. Choose the best conferences and best places. Wherever you want to go, you search conference at that place, and you don't wait for others. Don't think that my colleagues will join me, my friends will join me, then only I will travel. No, start from solo traveling, and then search that what are the conferences which are best in your field. And let us say you want to go to some tourist place, search if there is any good conference in that place where you want to visit, and there is funding available to travel. Okay, and when you go, remain freely, ask good quality of questions, think, talk, make new friends. Okay, talk to academic and non-academic people, tell professors and colleagues about your work, write to them after the completion of the event. Okay, so talk to them, and tea time, there will be tea time, snacks time, lunch, dinner available in India. There is a good thing about conferences is that they provide you good food all the time. So that will be nice time to talk to them. So when you present your work in a conference, it is just a 10 minutes talk for contributed talks, and there is hardly anyone who will understand your work during your talk. Okay, so the main purpose of learning is not fulfilled during the talk. The main purpose of conference is that you get travel and you make new friends, and you make a circle of people who are working in your own area. So that is the main network building, is the main aim of conferences. Okay, so if you only attend lectures and you do not talk to anyone, the purpose of the conference is not fulfilled. So travel without laptop. I will suggest you keep your presentation ready within your institute itself. Keep it in pen drive. Don't take your laptop. If you take your laptop, you will keep doing something there in the conference, in hostel or hotel room, and you will keep preparing your presentation. Most PhD they do that. Don't do that. If you do not take your laptop with you, you roam freely, go for sightseeing solo with your new friends. It is completely okay to bunk few lectures. there are several summer schools, and you apply for summer schools. Summer schools are funded. They provide you T&DA, so you don't have to apply to your own institute. So your paperwork is less. And then what you should do, other things in PhD. Physical exercise is very important. See, PhD is a work that is related to your mind, and a good mind can only remain in a good body. So you have to be fit during your PhD, in PhD. So physical exercise is a thing that you should not avoid. You should do it completely. Give sufficient time to hobbies. So if you see, there is an image of PhDs in outside world that PhDs are very boring people. They don't do anything. They are just, they remain, they keep sitting in front of laptop and they keep working and they don't have any life. No, I would say this is completely different, and you have to show it that it is completely different. See, I said in the beginning that you have time, you have energy, and you have money. So PhD is only phase of your life where you have time, money, and energy at the same time. So you should do whatever you want to do. If you want to dance, you join dance classes, you start dancing. If you want to swim, you swim. You do physical exercise, participate in sports, cultural activities, and build an image of PhDs. PhD people are as creative as B.Tech people. Okay, so that thing you should do. You should have a very good quality of life, which, if you want to study literature of your own language. Give sufficient time to your hobbies. It's completely okay. You should live a usual life. You should not live like I'm in very hurry. I have to do fast PhD. I have to do PhD as soon as possible. This thing never work like that. See, PhD is based on ideas, and ideas do not come in your mind if you are in hurry. So the motivation is a good thing. The motivation that you will do good work, the motivation that you will do a fast PhD as soon as possible is a good thing. But from where you should get that motivation? That motivation you should get from your work, not from your family, friends, and yourself, or some motivational speaker that you will do the good. No, the work itself is so interesting. The subject, the research, doing research, thinking, ideas, they are so interesting that you should get motivation from there. Then only it is helpful. If you become motivated from any other source, then you will get motivated only to get motivated. The motivation can only give you motivation. That will not help you in work and research. So the main source of motivation should be research itself. You should not think about any other thing. And if you do a honest work, you give sufficient time to your thinking process. Definitely, if you go slowly, you will complete your PhD very soon. But if you have this idea, if you are already in hurry that I have lot of family pressures and lot of family problems, I have so many responsibilities and I will complete my PhD within 3 years. And this idea, if you have in the beginning, then you will not be able to go to in that process of thinking. Okay, so completely surrender in front of your topic, your subject and research, and then everything will be fine. Okay, so solution is not important here. Try to understand it. PhD is a training. PhD is a training for research. So the world is not expecting you to provide great results during your PhD. No, you have to learn the process, that how it is achieved, how great results are achieved. That is the process of learning that you have to learn here, and how things are written, how things are presented. So this training is very important. After this training, you will do research and you will train to others. But you have to focus on yourself, on your own ideas, even if they are smaller. Okay, so Wikipedia is very good for understanding of subject, but you should verify it from other sources. Sometimes things are not correct in Wikipedia as we people write it. It may be incorrect sometimes, but it is good for introduction. Okay, so now we technically sound. You are in a PhD, especially in IIT, so you have to be technically good. Use latest softwares. You automate when you do any programming, automatize it. Try to automate, make everything automatic so that it becomes simpler to you. Okay. Keep updated about softwares. Initially, you will think that software is doing this thing, I can do even faster by my own method. But no, softwares are mainly for a longer use, and in longer term, it is very helpful to you. Okay, so if you have some problem in your PC, you have asked someone else to help yourself. Whatever they are doing, observe it nicely. Don't be dependent on others. Okay, so maintain harmony with your guide in research group. Be respectful to your seniors and caring to your juniors. Ask questions, discuss your result freely. You are at the beginning of this world. You should not have a very closed mentality. You should not have a narrow mentality. You should be free to everything. It is, if you have any idea, if you have anything to discuss, if you discuss it with others, it would be nice to you. It would be good to you. You will have plenty of time in your life to do some more results, some more ideas. That freedom you will get. But initially, you should maintain a very good environment in your own research group. And remember one thing, your research group is as important as your guide. You will learn a lot of things from your supervisor, but a lot of things you will learn within your group from seniors as well as from juniors. So everybody is important in your research group. There are latest scholarships. There are several scholarships to go abroad. There are several sandwich programs. You can go abroad for 1 or 2 years to collaborate with some other guide in some good best universities. So you keep looking for it. Spend your internet time in good things, not in bad things, not only for entertainment. Search for opportunities, search for scholarships. Okay, so what you should not do it is that, so I'm keeping the points that you, of course you should not do a lot of things, but I'm keeping the point which PhDs do often. Okay, so stay away from internet addiction, minimize Facebook and YouTube and other social media, read books and magazines in hard copy. So you should get a habit of reading books and papers in hard copy. So if there are key papers you are studying, take a printout and read it. Read it somewhere very nice place, very complex, you study there. Okay? And spend time in library. Make it a habit, go regularly in library, explore more books, study some basic knowledge. So for example, if you are reading something from your research and you are stuck to it and you don't know what to think or what to know. So for entertainment purpose only, you study your books that you have, or your subject books which you have studied in UGs and PGs. You study book which is related to fundamental of your subject. See, after your PhD, you have to look for job, and in job they will be very interested in what kind of fundamental knowledge do you have, fundamental basic knowledge of your subject. So, and time for acquiring that knowledge you will never get in your life. There will not be any time in your life that now 1 month I'm free, I have no research work, I have no other, now I can prepare for interview or written exam. It will not happen. You have to give a regular time, 1 hour, 2 hours during your PhD to basic knowledge of your subject, so that you become efficient in that. Okay, so prefer books and articles over video lectures. Video lectures, they give you passive learning. It is just keep speaking and saying, and you listen and you become comfortable. So you have to come out from a comfort zone. You in every sense, not only on research science or studying, in every sense you have to come out from a comfort zone. Okay, and therefore you should study hard books in hard copy and articles. Only demonstrative things should be learned from videos. So things which are not possible to learn by books, that things only should be learned from videos. Okay, now academia, this field is very strict for plagiarism. So never copy even a single sentence from others' papers. You should not do it. You should always remember it. And after some time, you will realize that it is possible that you can write your own paper, and it is not that tough. Okay, so highlight. So you should maintain the honesty. Whatever work you have done, whatever is the importance of work, you should highlight it correctly. You should say it in every terms. So for example, your paper has some lag, but you are at the beginning, it is okay. You can also clarify that some other work is better than this work, but we are giving independent results. Like that, you can write something similar to that. Okay, when you compare your results, compare it honestly. So honesty is a and ethics are very important in your area in academia. So you might have heard that people believe on teachers and lecturers. That means people believe on us in academia that we are good people. People in academia cannot be bad. So that is a general thing. So you have to keep your ethics high. Okay. Now minimize your dependence on supervisor. Of course, in the beginning there will be a lot of things on for you in which you are dependent on your supervisor. But you have to work constantly on that you minimize your dependence. Like I have seen PhD students, they do programming and they develop some results, and those results they give to guide. Now it is guide's responsibility to write a paper. So now what guide will do? Sometimes they say, okay, leave it, I will write and I will communicate it. This person cannot do anything. So now they have responsibility for your completion of your PhD. So they will do sometime. But you have to think about it. What will you do after PhD? Who will write your papers? Similarly, sometimes it is on the other way around. They give you problems and again they solve it and discuss it with you. You add something to it and then you think that I have done a good work. No, you have to keep working on. I'm not saying that don't be dependent on supervisor or don't take any help from supervisor. No, I'm not saying that. You have to think whether you have got sufficient training in your PhD that you can work independently, and you have to think it constantly, continuously. So minimize your dependence on supervisor. So try to formulate your own problem. Don't expect it from supervisor. Try to formulate it. It's okay. He will help you. If you cannot formulate, he will help you. It's okay. But you should not give the first choice that it will give you the problem. You should try to find out the problem. You should try to find out the solve it. You should write it. You make your own program and be independent. And then everything you do, you discuss it with guide. The main purpose of supervisor is that they will ask you some thought-provoking question that will lead to some good work. That is the main work of supervisors. Should not be considered as a collaborator. So they contribute something, you contribute something, and then some research is coming out. That is a plan B. If you cannot do anything, it is okay. It is not bad that supervisor is contributing anything to your research. It is not bad. It is okay completely. But the plan A is that you are getting training from supervisor to work, to learn everything here in the field of research. That is the main purpose. Okay. So guide is for discussion. Whatever you get your result, discuss it. You are doing programming, you are getting some results, or something is not working, you discuss it. You are solving a problem, you have got some work, something, and something you are not able to solve, discuss. Everything you do, you discuss it with your guide. Okay. Okay. Be driver of your own PhD. Now, again, I would say, based on my experience, there are some students, they start writing research articles from first year because guide is very active. Guide is solving problems and giving the student to type. Now, student is only working. Student is only working, not solving the problem or not solving complete problem. So he is just solving a part of the problem. So, and what will happen? You will feel dragged always. Guide is very active. Guide is very intelligent. Guide is expert on that subject. You are not expert. Guide will ask you a lot of questions, and then you will feel depressed. I don't know this. I don't know that. And whatever you do, you would not like it because you are not the driver. Someone else is asking you to do that, right? So you have to be driver of your PhD. Okay, and guide is for consultancy. The synonym for guide is advisor. So guide is for advising you. Okay, so you have to drive your own PhD. If you drive your own PhD, you will enjoy it a lot, and you will have no complaint, and you will also be, your guide will also be happy with you. Okay. Compromise the quality of work. Now, see, there are two different things. For beginners, it is completely different. For beginners, start from somewhere. I will suggest start from somewhere. Don't keep reading and reading and reading. Start from somewhere. After 1.5 years or after 2 years, you should produce a very small result. It is completely okay. And then decide it that whatever I have published, now next paper will be published in a better journal. That also you should take, that I will not publish, I will not keep publishing in good poor quality of journals or average quality of journals. I will tell you in the next slide that it is so important to publish a good journal compared with the average journal. Okay, so you have to keep improving, you have to work on that. And then again, to the first point, you have to be patient. You have to have patience. Okay, don't compare your progress with others. So it is very often that someone is publishing 5 papers in a year, you are publishing, you have completed your 3 years, you don't have any paper, and then you get depressed. PhD cannot be compared. PhD of 2 people cannot be compared. Even someone is publishing 5 papers in their first year and someone is publishing only 1 paper in 4 years, it is possible that the second person will get PhD even earlier. It is quite possible. As I said, because the progress in research, it goes exponentially. The initial growth is very slow, and then, but that is possible only when you do everything. If you formulate problem, if you solve your problem, then you will grow exponentially. And at the end of PhD, you will start developing so many results that you will think that I will not be able to publish or write all of them. And that is a very, again a very challenging phase, because you have so many interesting problems to work and then so many results, and scientific writing is a very boring process. Then you will not be very interested to communicate, because it will break your chain of thought. Because if you start writing but you have some problems which you have to think, so you have a chain of thought. So if you start writing, the chain of thought will break. So you will not, so then you have to decide whether you want to solve new problems or you want to publish the problem that is already solved. So that is again very challenging. But if you start with complete honesty and you with good intention, you do good research, then only it will help. Have patience in the starting of years. Okay. Now there are some myths and facts about PhD. So what people think? People think that high number of articles means good research. So they say, this person is having 10 papers. This is a very good researcher. No, paper and journal quality is very important. One paper in very reputed journal is better than 10 paper in average journals. Now it is better for getting PhD, it is better for getting postdoc, and it is better for getting jobs. For everything it is better. So one paper in a very reputed journal is very important than 10 papers. So do not run for quantity. Do not run for quantity. Focus on quality. 3 years postdoc is necessary for good jobs like in IITs. And that is so popular now after completion of this 4 or 5 years of PhD. I think this is so many people believe in that 3-year postdoc, if you don't do postdoc, you will not get good job. That is very funny. Phrase PhDs are hired a lot of times. You do PhD, coincidentally, if you get interview call, you will be hired. Nobody will look if you have postdoc or not. But postdoc is very important. Why? I will tell you that. See, after PhD, as soon as you complete your PhD, your scholarship is closed. Now you should have money continuously, and you should also get some experience. Experience certificate is also counted, right? Now, even if you apply for extension of a scholarship, that I want to stay up to defense, or even I want to stay up 6 months later on defense, please give me scholarship. IIT may give you some scholarship, but again you will need experience. So you will have several opportunities, whether you want to go for postdoc in abroad, or you want to go postdoc in India, or whether you want to apply. So you apply to IITs, NITs, or several good places. Best reputed universities you apply, but it's a slow process. It will take time. So it will take a year. It may take a year or more than 1 year. So what will you do? Now that is the very crucial point, because that time you should not join average colleges. You should not join private colleges. That time postdoc, getting a postdoc is very important, because getting a postdoc means you will get sufficient time so that you can continue your research. You can do research in a new area, as well as whenever you get interview call, you can prepare for interview and you can attend that interview. That is very important, because if you have to attend in India, that is a very much situation that you have to attend several interviews for getting a job. Several. So throughout the year you will keep applying, because application takes 1 or 2 days. One application takes 1 or 2 days, and then you have to go. So it's a time-taking process. And in postdoc you will get that time. So that is the reason postdoc is good, because you can continue your speed and then you can provide sufficient time to the preparation. Okay, people think that PhD is boring. No, PhD are not boring, and this is your responsibility to prove the world that PhD people are very interesting people and they have very variety of life. Right? Okay, so good PhD is sufficient to get a good job. So students, they give their complete time to PhD and publishing papers, and they just ignore their basic knowledge, or sometimes they publish good journals, and even that they don't have sufficient good knowledge of that subject itself. Okay, and then they face problem and they look for job. So very strong knowledge of fundamentals is also required. So you need two things: one is good PhD and very strong knowledge of fundamental of the your area, whatever you choose. Okay, then research work should be started with great findings. No, start from anywhere. You will automatically go for great findings if your results are independent, if your idea is genuine, if idea is original. It is very small idea, it will automatically lead to a great idea slowly. Okay, PhD is mainly aimed for as a training for research. Thank you very much. If you have any doubt, please ask me. You can also write me later on this email ID.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank